Alright, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Alright, we're live. And guys, as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, I'm going to be working on more AI enemy logic. Last stream I worked on enemy AI logic as well, but I didn't get a complete grasp of it. That said, I am not going to be streaming for as long as I usually do because, well, I do got some college assignments to do. Like I'm like way behind the schedule, and like I have an exam next week. So I might end the stream a bit sooner. That said, let me go to my gameplay screen. Oops, had my stream key on here. Okay, give me a sec, guys. Let me open my PyCharm. And guys, I did install VS Code as well, so that's going to be pretty fun to use when I'm learning C++, because I am eventually going to learn C++. Okay, let me go to my gameplay screen right there. Alright, and guys, I started streaming on whatchamacallit, Twitch as well now because I finally got an Ethernet cable, so now my Wi-Fi is actually pretty fast. That said, did I get my PyCharm open? Alright, let me say, should say, I'm live, exclamation. I did ads instead. Oh guys, is that a new feature? Like a blue underline? Listen up, chat, Vivek. Vivek has entered the arena, and today we're going to teach monsters to aim like assassins. No dumb rectangle wandering around. We're diving into vectors, the math behind bullets that never miss. Chat, buckle up. If Vivek misses, he gets roasted. If he gets it right, he earns a praise. Let's see how long he survives. First strike, broken snippet number 1. Broken, move wrong direction, too fast diagonally. Okay. Hold up, guys. I did, while I was setting Sensei up, or while I was telling Sensei what I'm gonna do, there was a long chat up here. Okay, let's read all this real quick. Okay, stop for 29 seconds. Very good, you said you don't know anything about vectors, because guys, I seriously don't know a single thing about vectors. That said, we're fixing that right now. I'll tell you, I'll yell, I'll explain, and I'll make you do it. Read this, memorize it, and copy it into your stream notes. What is a vector? A vector is a two-dimensional. 2D equals a vector in 2D equals a direction and a magnitude. When an enemy or projectile aims at the player, you compute a vector, okay, from the shooter to the target and move along that vector. Direction X, target X, source X, horizontal difference. Direction Y, target Y, source Y, vertical difference. Distance equals to the square root of direction X multiplied by direction X plus direction Y multiplied by direction Y. Length of that vector, how far apart they are. Normalized equals distance X divided by distance, okay, distance Y divided by distance. Same direction, length equals 1, move source underscore X. I increase our source underscore X, okay, by our normalized multiplied by our speed. I think I see. So what this basically means is like our source, our normalized x-axis, which is our distance x divided by our direction x, that accelerates slash moves towards our source, actually our target, multiplied by the speed, so how much ever the speed is. Why normalize? If you add speed to both x-axis and y-axis separately, diagonal movement becomes faster. Okay, normalizing keeps speed constant in every direction. Practical game tips you must know. Use centers for aiming. Rect.center x divided by rect.center y, not rect.x-axis. Rect x slash y-axis are top left. Keep float positions for smooth motions. Store position equals to pygame.math.vector2. Okay, I didn't learn about the vector function, but do that. Or self.position equals to float x, float y, and assign center.rect.center to be equal to integer position.x-axis, integer position.y-axis. Avoid division by 0. Check if distance is not equal to 0, or direction, or if direction.length is greater than 0. Homing versus far projection. Is that how we pronounce it? Homing? Homing, recal direction. What does recal mean? Recal direction every frame. Missile that tracks. Bullet. Compute direction once at spawn. Store velocity, then move unchanged. Use pygame.math.vector. It makes life easier. Vector, Okay, reference clean aim code 2 versions. Simple homing recalculate. Oh, I think recal means recalculate. Each frame. Inside loop using rex and float position for projectile. From pygame.math import vector. Okay, I thought that we gotta import the math module, but pygame does have a math category that has a vector2 module in it, if that made any sense. Assume rect underscore hero underscore rect proj position vector2 proj speed exists. And guys, I forgot to check if I'm audible. I usually do that because yo, good evening, how you doing, Genuine Nano? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let me check if I'm audible here. Assume okay, why does it say my bitrate is still 2000 lower than recommended? Okay, that said, perfect, I am audible. Okay, far projectile compute velocity once at spawn. When spawning the projectile, okay. Common mistake and how they cause trouble using reg.x-axis, quick mini lesson step. Okay, guys, I'm just skimming over this because I actually need to rush up even because of my college exam. Like, we got exams stacked above the other, but they don't teach us a damn thing. I'm giving you 5 deliberately broken pieces. Fix them on stream. I'll roast you if you paste the wrong fix. You asked for broken code practice. Here they are. Fix one. Alright, so let me honestly copy this part, that part. Okay, copy that. Go all the way down. Paste it at a bunch of spaces and say, I honestly didn't learn about the vector functions ... and I didn't even know that Pygames has a math section ... Can you explain that part to me? Guys, the amount of typos that I'm having is... Okay, good Vivek, you just stumbled on one of Pygame's secret weapons. I'll carve this into your brains until you dream in vectors. What is pygame.math.vector? It's a chess in Pygame that represents a two-dimensional vector. Okay, 2D vector, x-axis, y-axis. Think of it like a smart tuple with superpowers. Instead of doing ugly math with direction x, direction y, and square roots, vector2 does it for you. I might use it in that case. From pygame.math, import vector2. Vector2 does it, okay. A vector pointing 3 right or down. Okay. Print a length 5 because square root okay. Why is it useful for games without vector? You write this garbage. Okay, isn't it like recommended to like know this method, like how to do it manually? That said, with vector direction, vector oh, that actually sounds good. Okay. Shorter, cleaner, less bugs, common vector superpowers. Vector2 create vector, vec.length, distance from 0, 0, vec.normalize makes length 1, vec multiplied by number, scale vector by a number, vec1 plus vec2, add vectors, vec1 minus vec2, subtract vectors, vec1 dot distance underscore 2, vec2. Distance between 2 points. Okay, hold up. I actually think this might make sense. Vec1 dot angle 2, vec2 angle between them. In enemy AI, vector2 player dot center minus vector2 enemy dot center direction towards player. Normalize, get pure direction. Asterisk speed equals control how fast enemy projectile. Listen, Chad, with vector2, Vivek doesn't need to be a math wizard. It's like hiring a bodyguard that knows trigonometry so he can focus on killing enemies. Alright, let me just say, Sensei, I feel like I get it in theory, although I need some practice ... How do we get some practice for this? Maybe write some code, but I don't know what to write. Okay, maybe fix some of my typos here. There we go, this is going to make it a bit more readable for Sensei. Okay, let me check if my chat's going good. Okay, let me go there. How do we get... Maybe Right some. Alright, perfect. Okay, good. Theory without practice is useless, like a sword still in its sheath. You want practice? I'll throw you in the fire. We'll do step-by-step practice tasks with pygame.math.vector. You'll write a small snippet, not full games, so you feel how vectors move things. Practice at number 1, baby steps with vectors. Task 1, vector length. Write a code that creates a vector 3, 4 and prints its length. We expect 50. Task 2, Alright. Okay, let me get Sensei there. I think Sensei kind of doesn't understand what I mean. I want to try it in a real world game type stuff. Okay, let's go with the Control A, delete this whole thing, and actually let me open my my vertical charts on my phone. Should have done it before stream, but it doesn't take that long. Okay, there we go. Wait, am I streaming horizontally as well? Hold up, I thought I was streaming vertically and horizontally. Oh, there we go. Okay, with that said, let me go ahead and firstly import pygame. I'll go with import pygame. Okay. Actually, I might go... Actually, yeah, import pygame would make sense. And then let's initialize pygame by typing pygame.init. That basically initializes pygame. Okay. And then let me honestly go ahead and add a few game variables. I honestly don't know where game variables are going to be useful in my vectors concept. That said, I might need a clock variable for my FPS controller, so I'll go with clock equals to pygame dot time dot capitalize clock. Okay, this is basically my clock variable, my FPS controller. So I'll add a comment that says FPS controller, and then let me go ahead and add a FPS variable also that equal to 60. Now let me go ahead and add my display. Okay, for my display, I'll create a width variable and a height variable. My width variable is going to be 1000 and height variable is going to be 650. Alright, and then let me go ahead and create a screen variable also that equal to pygame.display.set_mode. My mode is going to be in a tuple of my display's width and height, which is basically going to be my width variable and height variable. I could add a caption, so let me go ahead and add a caption. So I'll go with pygame.display.set_caption. My caption is going to be something like, I don't know, let's see. I'll go with vectors. Okay, so for my vectors, under my vectors, I could go ahead and load a few images. So let me go ahead and add a comment that says load images, because I do want to move my I do want my PNGs to be chasing each other. So the first image could be my hero_image. Also that equals to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my hero image. My file path is going to be game item followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by player, followed by 2 more forward slashes. This is going to be my hero PNG. And since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. Okay, perfect. Next up, let me go ahead and load maybe a projectile image. So my projectile image could be something like fireball image. Also that equals to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my projectile image. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by projectiles, 2 more forward slashes. This is going to be my enemy projectile. Alright, and under my enemy projectile, I'm going to be adding another comment that says transform and scale. So I basically wanna transform and scale my PNGs. To transform and scale, I'm going to be defining a scale function. My scale function will be having 2 parameters. The first is going to be an image parameter, and the second is going to be a factor parameter. Factor is going to be set to 0.1 by default, which is technically 10%. Alright, and then let me go ahead and return pygame dot transform dot scale. I want to scale my image. I'll add a comma, and then in a tuple, I'm going to be adding my height. So my factor, for getting my factor, I'm for getting my image's height, I am going to be getting the width of my image and multiplying it by my factor, and then I'll get the height of my image and multiply it by my factor. So first, let me go with integer. I'll go with my image.get_width function. I'll get the width of my image, then I'll multiply it by my factor. And then I'm going to be getting the height of my image, so I'll go with image.get_height function. I'll get the height of my image and multiply it by my factor. Okay, with that said, let me go ahead and reassign my hero_image to be equal to, I'll invoke my scale function. I want to scale my hero_image. Okay, and then let me do the same with my projectile_image or my fireball_image. I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my fireball image. And the size is going to be 0.05, which is relatively smaller than my hero image because I want my projectiles to be smaller than my hero. Alright, let me add my game loop now. So, howdy, so Winnie, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, I'll go with my game loop. For my game loop, I'll be adding a is underscore running boolean variable, also that equal to true, and then I'm going to be adding a while loop. So while is underscore running, while my program is running or while my is running is set to true, I'll add a event loop. Honestly, before my event loop, I actually might, where's it gone? I actually might fill my screen, so I'll go with screen.fill. Okay, so I'll fill my screen to be a good blue color. So the RGB for blue is 0, 231, and 255. Okay, and then I might want my player to move around, so I'll create a keys variable. Also that equal to pygame.key.get underscore pressed. This basically checks if any of my keys are getting pressed. Okay, and there's just going to be this is going to be key. Alright, then under my keys, let me go ahead and add a event loop. Basically, the reason I'm adding an event loop is to check if my cancel button is pressed so I exit Python safely. So I'll go with for every event in my pygame.event.get. This basically gets all my pygame's events, but I'm looking for a specific type of event. If my event.type equals to pygame.all uppercase quit, I'll set my is underscore running boolean variable to be equal to false. Okay, and then outside my for loop, let me add FPS. I'll go with my clock variable that I previously created, .detect function, and this is going to be my FPS. Okay, and then let me update my display by typing pygame.display.flip. Although pygame.display.update would work exactly the same as pygame.display.flip, then let me go ahead and add a pygame.quit. Okay, perfect. This is basically a regular display that I created here. There we go, a regular blue display. The caption is set to vectors. I can exit it without an issue. Alright. Next up, let me go ahead and add a few details for my vectors. This is where I might ask Sensei/ChatGPT for help to learn how to use the vector function. That said, let me go ahead and try it myself first. Okay, so after my event loop, I'm honestly assuming I might need object details, so I could draw my object, but before my object, I'll go with my hero movement. Okay, for my hero movement, let me go with a bunch of if statements. So if my keys variable at index of pygame.k is right, if my right key is pressed, I will increase my hero's y-axis. Okay. To get my hero's rex y-axis, I will need to create object rex a comment. So object rex, I could create classes, but I'm not making this over complicated because I just want to understand the concept of vectors. So I could go with my hero underscore rect. I'll set that equal to pygame.the capitalized rect. This is going to be capitalized rect. Now I'm going to be giving the rex x-axis, y-axis, width and height. The x-axis of my rect is going to be the... How to get good, bro? That's some good foundation skills. It's actually 255. It is? Yeah, pretty sure 255. Yeah, honestly, the way I actually did get pretty good in Python is because I did spend 100 days learning Python. And if you guys want my roadmap, you guys can join the Discord and mention me or ping me there. I can DM you guys the roadmap. Although the only key thing that the only key advice that I could give is keep practicing. The more we practice, the better we get. That said, let me go ahead and add the x-axis. So the x-axis could be 100, the y-axis could be 300, the width could be 50, and the height could be 50. So that's basically the attributes. Is this called attributes for my hero rect? Next up, let me go ahead and add one for my projectile rect, or fire underscore ball underscore rect. I'll set that equal to pygame.the capitalized rect. Now the x-axis, y-axis, width and height. My x-axis could be 500, y-axis could be 300, width could be 50, height could be 50. Okay, perfect. Next up for my if statements, if my right key is pressed, I will increase my my hero underscore rect dot x-axis by 5 pixels per frame. And if my keys at index of pygame.k is left, if my left key is pressed, I could decrease my hero underscore rect dot x-axis by 5 pixels per frame. Alright, then let me go ahead and add one for my up if my top key is pressed. So if my keys at index of pygame.k is up, if my top key is pressed, I will decrease my hero's y-axis. So my hero's rex.y-axis by 5 pixels per frame. And lastly, if my keys at index of pygame.k is down, if my bottom key is pressed, I will increase my hero underscore rex y-axis by 5 pixels per frame. Okay, who the frick uses spy games these days anymore? Lol, you're wasting your time. Honestly, I use them. Honestly, the reason I'm using Py games is just for getting a good grasp of like how Python works. I'm eventually going to move on to like C++, but before I move on, I want to get a good idea about how to use vectors and all that stuff. That said, this is basically gonna help me move my player around. Let me go ahead and add graphics as well. So I'll go with graphics. For my graphics, firstly, I'm going to be drawing my players. So I'll go with screen.blit. I'm going to be blitting my hero image on my screen. This is going to be hero underscore image. The position is going to be in a tuple of my hero underscore rect dot x-axis and my hero underscore rect dot y-axis. Okay, and then let me go ahead and blit my fireball image on my screen as well. So I'll go with screen.blit. I want to blit my, let's say, my fireball underscore image. And the position, the nest is going to be my fire underscore ball rect dot x-axis and my fireball rect dot y-axis. Okay, let's see what happens if I run the command. There's my player. Why is my player so squinched up? I could change that, but my player can like move around perfectly. Okay, my right key works, left key works, top works. Okay, now I want to get my player to move. Although, why is he like kind of squinched? Probably because of my, whatchamacallit, my, is this called the width and height? I could change this to 100 and that to 100. Okay, let me change this to 100. Yeah, who are you, jobless high schooler? Honestly, I did join college, guys. That's the reason I can't stream for that long today, because they like don't teach us anything. We gotta like almost do everything on our own, and I got an exam. I don't know what am I gonna do in the exam. Okay, let me copy that kid sensei here. Okay, paste it at a bunch of spaces and say sensei. I feel like I'm a bit confused here. ... I honestly don't know how to use the vectors. Okay, let's see. I got like so many typos. Good. Confusion is a sign your brain is about to level up. You set the playground perfectly. Hero fireball movement, but you're still moving with raw x-axis and y-axis, not vectors. Let's inject vector y into your code step by step. Step 1. Create vector positions. Instead of only using rect.x-axis and rect.y-axis, let's track positions as vector. From pygame.math, import vector 2. Hero underscore position equals to vector 2 100 by 300. Fireball underscore position equals to vector 2 500 by 300. Alright, this is something new, I guess. We'll keep the regs just for drawing, but real math happens in these vectors. Okay. Step 2. Update hero movement with vectors. Instead of editing reg.x-axis divided by reg.y-axis directly, instead of doing that, then sync the reg to vectors. Ooh, hero underscore reg dot center equals to integer hero underscore position dot x-axis. Alright, hero underscore position dot y-axis. Step 3, aim fireball with vectors. Here's the vector 2 flexes. Direction equals to hero position minus fireball position. Vector pointing from fireball hero. If direction dot length is not equal to 0, direction equals to direction dot normalize. Oh my gosh, there are so many functions I didn't learn about. Fireball underscore position is going to increase by my direction multiplied by 3. Move fireball towards hero at speed. Fireball underscore reg dot center equals to Step 4, draw. Okay, let me actually say, sensei, honestly, I've never seen this code written before. So, can you write the code once so I could read it and then understand it? Honestly, guys, because I've never seen vector used in an actual code. I should be reading more codes online, but I'm really busy. Good, I'll write you a clean working version. Read it carefully. Alright, so we start by importing pygame and sys. The reason we imported sys is to exit Python's program. For pygame.math, okay, from pygame.math, we import vector2. And then we initialize pygame, we add our display, we add our game variables, we load our images, we define our scale function, we create recs. Okay, we scale our functions first, then we create vector2 positions. So we create a hero position variable that is vector2's x-axis and y-axis. Okay, fireball's position variable that is vector2's x-axis and y-axis. Then we create recs. Okay, so hero underscore recs, hero underscore image dot the get underscore rec function. The position is going to be center, excuse me guys, which is going to be equal to my hero's position. For my fireball, okay, for my fireball rec, I get the fireball.get image. Then in our main game loop, we iterate over pygame events, we add our player movement using vectors. Okay, hero's position increases. Update rec positions, hero underscore rec dot center equals to a tuple. Inside of our tuple, we have our hero underscore position dot x-axis typecasted into an integer. The same thing with our hero underscore position dot y-axis, and then fireball aim logic vector math direction. So our direction is going to be equal to our hero's position minus our fireball's position, vector pointing towards hero. If our direction's length is not equal to 0, avoid divide by 0. Okay, I think I understand what this means. Direction equals to direction dot normalized. I do not know what the dot normalized function does. Should ask that to Sensei. Fireball position increases by my direction multiplied by 3. Move 3 pixels towards hero. Okay. Fireball underscore rec dot center inside a tuple. We go with fireball position dot x-axis. We typecast that to an integer. Fireball underscore y-axis is position, we typecast it into an integer as well. Lastly, we go with graphics, add our FPS, update our display, quit Python, quit pygames, and then exit Python. Alright, let me actually check if I got any chats. Guys, if I don't read you guys' chats instantly, it's because I'm a little busy. I was born in 2016. Okay, nope, I'm in the 3rd grade. Okay, let me actually say, Sensei, what does the normalize, how do you spell normalize? N-O-R-M-I-L-I-Z-E-D. What does the normalized function do, question mark? I've never heard of it. Oh guys, I should fix my typo. Good, finally a decent question instead of mashing your keyboards like a drunk octopus. I think that's what I've been doing, mashing my keyboard. Listen carefully, Brad. A vector has both direction and magnitude. Example 3 and 4, direction is to the right and up, magnitude is, okay, 3 to the power of 2 plus 4 to the power of 2, the square root of 3 to the power of 2 plus 4 to the power of 2, which is equal to 5. Now, if you don't care about how long the vector is, but only the direction, that's where normalize comes in. If you don't care about how long the vector is, but only the direction, okay, normalize takes your vector and shrinks or stretches it to length 1. That's called a unit vector. It's super useful because you can use it to keep consistent movement speed no matter how far the target is. You can multiply it by any speed you want. Example, direction equals to target minus position dot normalize multiplied by 10. Always move 10 pixels per frame. Without normalize, the target is so close you crawl like a snail. Oh, I see. Okay, so basically what this means is if you have the normalize, when we get close to the target, instead of decreasing our speed, we're going to be moving in a constant speed. Okay, and I will be writing the code because like I gotta practice it, so I will be looking at the reference as well. That said, let's go with the control A, delete this whole thing. Let me start off by importing a few modules. I'll import pygame and sys module. Then let me go ahead and import, actually, instead of import, from my pygame.math, I will be importing vector2. Okay, is this how we type it? From pygame.math, we import vector2. Okay, from pygame.math, this is going to be a capitalized vector2. There we go. Alright, next up let me initialize pygame by typing pygame.init. That initializes pygame. Alright, and then let me go ahead and add my game variables. So I'll go with game variables. I'll create a clock variable, I'll set that equal to pygame.time.clock. This is basically going to be my FPS controller, so I'll add a comment that says FPS controller. Next up, let me go ahead and add a FPS variable. I'll set that to be 60 because I want my frames per second to be 60. And then let me go ahead and add a display comment. For my display comment, I'll create a all uppercase width and height variable. I'll set my width to be 1000 and my height to be 650. And then let me go ahead and add a screen variable. My screen variable is going to be equal to pygame.display.set_mode function. My mode is going to be inside of a tuple, which is going to be my width variable and my height variable. Alright, and then after I create my mode, let me go ahead and add a caption. So I'll go with pygame.display.set_caption function. My caption is going to be vector. Vector2 would sound much better. Okay, and after I add a caption, let me change my spelling to VECTOR. There we go. I'm kind of bad at spellings. Okay, let me go ahead and load my images. So the first image I would want to load is like my hero image. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my hero image. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 forward slashes followed by players. This is going to be players. Followed by 2 more forward slashes, my hero PNG. And since this is a PNG, I will be converting it to alpha. And then let me just go with my projectile_image. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 forward slashes followed by projectiles, 2 more forward slashes. That's going to be my enemy projectile PNG, and I will convert it to alpha since it is a PNG. Okay, and then let me go ahead and transform and scale my images. So to transform and scale, I'm going to be defining a scale function. My scale function will be having 2 parameters. The first is going to be image parameter. The second is going to be a factor parameter. Factor is going to be set to 0.1, which is basically 10%. That's like the size. And then let me go ahead and return pygame.transform.scale. I want to scale my image. The size is going to be in a tuple. Maybe I'll go in a new line and go with an integer. Now I'm going to be getting the width of my image and multiplying it by my factor, and then I'll get the height of my image and I'll multiply by my factor. So image.get_height, I get the height of my image, I multiply it by my factor, and then add a comma, get the height of my image, so image.get_height function, and I multiply that by my factor. Okay, and then I reassign my hero_image to be equal to, invoke my scale function. I want to scale my hero_image. Then I reassign my, my projectile_image. I set that equal to, invoke my scale function. I want to scale my projectile_image. And the size, the factor is going to be 0.05, which is relatively smaller than my hero image. Alright, okay, now for the vectors. Let me see if I remember this part. Vector2. For vector2, firstly, let me go ahead and get my, let's see, I might look at the reference, guys, because I don't remember this part. Okay, so this is basically going to be vector positions, vector2 positions. Okay, so firstly, I'll go with my hero_position. My hero_position is going to be equal to my vector2. Add a pair of parentheses, the x-axis and y-axis. X-axis is going to be 100 and y-axis is going to be 300. And then I'll go with my enemy position or my projectile position. Projectile_position, also that equal to vector2. This is going to be 500 by 300. Okay, next up the thing that I needed was creating Rex for drawing in collision. Alright, I know how to create Rex. So I'll add a comment that says create Rex. Okay, so for creating my Rex, firstly I'm gonna go with let's see, I'll go with my hero_rect. I'll set that equal to my hero_image.the_get_rect function. Was it called hero image? There we go. Hero_image dot the get_rect function. My position is going to be in the center, which is going to be equal to my hero_position. And then I'll go with my projectile_rect. I'll just go here and change that to rect. That is going to be equal to my projectile_image.the_get_rect function. Okay, my position is going to be my center, which is going to be equal to my projectile's position. Alright, perfect. Okay, and then what else do I need? Let's see. Alright, and then let me go ahead and add my game loop. So for my game loop, maybe I'll write a comment that says game loop. Okay, now inside of my game loop, I'm going to be creating a is underscore running boolean variable. I'll set that equal to true, and then add a while loop. So while is underscore running, while my program is running or while my is running is set to true. I'm going to be filling my screen, so I'll go with a screen.fill. I'll fill my screen to be a good blue color, so 0 to 31 by 255. That's the RGB color. And then since I want my player to move, I'll add a keys variable to add movement. So I'll go with pygame.key.get underscore pressed function. This basically checks if any of my keys getting pressed on my keyboard. Okay, then let me go ahead and add my event loop. For my event loop, I'm going to be iterating over all my Pygame events. So I'll go with for every event in my pygame.event.get. This basically gets all my Pygame events, but I'm looking for a specific type of event. So if my event.type equals to pygame.all uppercase quit, I'll set my is underscore running boolean variable to be equal to false. Then outside my for loop, I'm going to be adding my FPS. So I'll go with clock.tick function. This is going to be my FPS variable. Maybe I'll add a comment that says FPS. This is going to be tick and not Rick. Okay, and under that I will update my display by going with pygame.display.flip. This basically updates my display. Although pygame.display.update will work exactly the same as pygame.display.flip. Then let me go with a pygame.quit. This exits pygame, and then I'll go with a sys.exit, which exits my Python. Alright, now under my event loop, I'm going to be adding my player movement. So I'll go with player movement. For my player movement, movement. Is that how you spell movement? There we go. Okay, for my player movement, I'll add an if statement. So if my keys at index of pygame.k is right, if my right key is pressed, okay, I will increase my vector's position. So my vector2's position. So my hero underscore position dot x-axis, I'll increase it by 5 pixels per frame. And if my keys at index of pygame.k is left, if my left key is pressed, I will decrease my hero underscore position, my hero's vector's x-axis by 5 pixels per frame. If my keys at index of pygame.k is up, if my top key is pressed, I will decrease my hero underscore position dot y-axis, my hero's y-axis by 5 pixels per frame. And lastly, if my keys at index of pygame.k is down, if my bottom key is pressed, I will increase my hero underscore position dot y-axis by 5 pixels per frame. Okay, so that basically moves my player. Let me go ahead and add graphics now. Graphics is basically me drawing my players on my screen. So for my graphics, I'll go with a screen.blit. Okay, here's the kind of trickier part. I want to blit my hero underscore image. The position is going to be I think in a tuple of my hero underscore position dot x-axis and my hero underscore position dot y-axis. Okay, then let me go ahead and add a screen.blit for my projectile underscore image as well. Okay, projectile underscore image. The dest is gonna be my projectile underscore rect dot x-axis and my projectile underscore rect dot y-axis. Alright, if I were to run the command, there we go, my hero get move, it's exactly the same as before. Okay, let's see if this is what Sensei wanted, because I want my projectiles to like chase my player or like aim at my player and follow my player. So let's get Sensei here. Hello, can you learn me the programming? Honestly, yeah, I can like help you learn Python. So I mean, I can like help you learn Python, but if you like join my Discord server and like mention me on my Python chat, then I can like DM you the roadmap that I followed for learning Python. And in my channel, like I have a Python for 100 days series. There I said what did I do every week, so you guys could like go through that and like maybe get a few tips or something. And definitely you guys can ask me questions in my Discord. I'll try my best to answer them. Let me say, I feel like I didn't understand the vector part. I know that it works like my Rex, but what's the difference between them, question mark. And how would my projectile chase / aim at my player? Okay, let's see. Respect the grind, hell yeah. Okay, good, you finally asked the right question. How are you doing, Shrisius? If that's how you pronounce your if that's how you pronounce your name, guys, I am real bad at pronunciation. That says I appreciate you guys being on the stream. Okay, good, you finally asked the right question. Now listen, or I'll beat it into your skull with a brick made of Python. Rect versus vector. Rect equals a dumb box. It stores x-axis, y-axis, width, and height. Good for collisions and drawing positions, bad for math. You can easily say move towards the point. Vector 2 equals math god. It stores x-axis, y-axis, and gives you distance, length. Okay, gives you distance, length, direction, normalize. Oh, I see. Addition, subtraction, scaling, asterisk, slash, perfect for movement and aiming. Okay, how to chase the hero? Take position. Direction x equals to hero's position minus my projectile's position, so my target's position minus my source's position. This gives a vector point from projectile to hero. Normalize it, make it length 1. Direction equals direction dot normalize, multiply by speed, say 4. Projectile underscore position increases by my directions, okay, by direction multiplied by 4. Now the projectile always chases the hero at the same speed no matter what the hero is. Full fix in your code, read this. Okay, so replace your projectile logic with projectile movement direction. Okay, so for our projectile movement / chasing hero, we create a direction variable. We add our target and we subtract that by our source, which is our position. Then we check if our direction's length, if our direction variable's length is not equal to 0, avoid divide by 0, okay? Direction equals to direction dot normalize. Okay, projectile underscore position increases by my direction multiplied by 4. 4 is basically the velocity of my my projectile. Update rex hero underscore rect dot center equals to our hero position. Projectile underscore rect dot center equals to our projectile's position. Graphics, rect is the body, vector is the brain. If you only use rex, your projectile is a caveman throwing rocks randomly. If you use vectors, your projectile is a trained assassin locked in your hero's soul. Alright, let's try to use that part. Why not C++? I mean fast ride. Honestly, yeah, I installed like VS Code yesterday. I'm definitely going to start C++ ASAP, but before I spent 100 days learning Python, so like before I leave Python, I'm trying to learn all the things that I did. For example, more details in mouse pointers, vectors, and maybe NumPy and pandas as well. But then I think by next week or the week after that, I'm definitely starting C++. That's going to be pretty fun. Hey man, which coding is for Unreal Engine? Honestly, I've heard of the Unreal Engine, but I don't know much about it, so I couldn't give tips. Although you could try asking people on my Discord servers, Python chat, or programming chat in general, because I feel like they have way more idea than I do. That said, let's see. So this is player movement. Under my player movement, let's see. So since I said to projectile movement, let's go with projectile movement. Okay, let's see. For my projectile movement, I create a direction variable. My direction variable is going to be equal to, let's see, my target, my hero underscore position minus my source, my projectile underscore position. Okay, and then I go with the if statement to avoid zero division errors. So if my direction is not equal to 0, if my direction isn't equal to 0, I might add comments as well so I could read it later and study this code. I'll go with avoid zero division error. Okay, what timing do you stream from? Honestly, I usually mention people on my Discord when I stream, but usually I stream at this time because after I come from college, the US 2 o'clock or something, after I come from my college, I quickly eat something and then start streaming. And then after I'm done streaming, I get back to my college work. That said, I'll go with my direction. I'll set that equal to, okay, my direction variable dot the normalized function. Okay, This basically lets my projectile have a constant speed and not slow down as he gets close to my hero. Okay. Alright, and then I go with my projectile's position. I increase that. So my projectile's position, I will increase that by my direction multiplied by 4. 4 is like my velocity. Okay, so this is speed of projectile. Okay, after my speed of projectile, I'll update my rex. So outside my if statement, I'll go with a comment that says update rex. Which place are you from? What do you study? Honestly, I'm currently in the United States, and my college, I'm taking like my useless classes right now. I actually can't think of where I'm going to be using that. That said, I am learning programming in general and like streaming it while learning also, because I thought it'd be a good idea. Got it. I'll be there tomorrow. Keep up the work. I appreciate you, Sigma dog. Okay, then I'll go with update rex. So for updating my rex, I'll go with hero underscore rex dot center. I get the center of my hero. Okay, I set that equal to my hero underscore position. Then I go with my projectile underscore rex. I set that equal to my projectile underscore position. Okay, actually my projectile underscore rect dot center, the center of my projectile. Okay. You look like Indian. Honestly, yeah, I look like Indian. Like my parents, they also look like Indian for some reason. I'm joking, guys. It's like I just inherited from them. I'm just currently in the United States. I've been here for a long time, so like I've like got so many people say that my accent sounds fake, but then I'm like, this is the only accent I can talk in. Okay, that said, let me run the command. Okay, now my projectile does follow my player. Okay. Alright, I see. Alright, dude, let me see if I understood this properly by like writing this whole code again. Okay, this was the only part. First, I create a direction variable. I set that equal to my target minus my source. And then I check if my direction is not equal to 0 to avoid 0 division error. And then I set my direction equal to direction.normalize projectile underscore position. I increase that by my direction multiplied by 4. Okay, and then I update my rex. Okay, let's go with the control A, delete this whole thing. Now let me write that by scratch. So I'll go with import Pygames. I'll import Pygame. Actually, I'll import Pygame and sys. And then from Pygame dot.math, I want to import vector, capitalize vector 2. Okay, and then let me go ahead and initialize Pygame by typing pygame.init. Okay. Just wanted to say respect, bro. It's awesome to see someone sharing their skills with plebs. Honestly, I appreciate you guys so much. Are 3 months enough for learning Django? Honestly, I think 3 months is like a lot of days, because like I don't know if it's like harder to learn than Python, because I like actually never learned it. But I do think like 3 months is a lot, like if you like learn every single day. Okay, let's see. I import Pygames, and then let me go ahead and add my game variables. Okay, for my game variables, let me go ahead and create a clock variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.time.capitalize clock. Okay, and this is going to be my FPS controller. Let me add a comment that says FPS controller. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add a FPS variable. I'll set that equal to 60. And guys, I honestly might need to end the stream soon, because I got an exam for my college and I haven't studied that much. But I'll probably stream like for an hour more. That's it. Let me go ahead and add my display. Howding house, I appreciate you joining the stream. So for my display, I'll go with a width variable and a height variable. My width variable is going to be 1000 and my height variable is going to be 650. And then let me go ahead and create a screen variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.display.set underscore mode. My mode is going to be my width variable and my height variable. Okay, maybe I'll go ahead and add a caption by typing pygame.display.set underscore caption. My caption is going to be something like vector 2. Okay, and then let me go ahead and load images, since I am going to be using PNGs. The first image that I'm going to be loading is going to be my hero underscore image. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by player, followed by 2 more forward slashes. This is going to be my hero PNG. And since this is a PNG, I will be converting this to alpha. Okay, and then let me go ahead and load my projectile underscore image. So projectile underscore image, I'll set that equal to, let me fix my projectile spelling. There we go. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my projectile image. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 / followed by projectiles. I might go with weapons, honestly. Okay, that might sound much better. Followed by 2 more / This is going to be my sword. Okay, and since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. Okay, perfect. And then let me go ahead and comment that says transform and scale. Okay, this is going to be transform and scale. Okay, to transform and scale, I'm going to be defining a scale function. My scale function will be having 2 parameters. The first is going to be an image parameter. The second is going to be a factor. Factor is basically the size. I'll set that equal to 0.1, which is like 10%. And then let me go ahead and return. Okay, I'll return pygame.transform.scale. I want to scale my image. The size is going to be in a tuple, or maybe I'll go in a new line and go with integer. Now I'm going to be getting the width of my image and multiplying it by my factor, and then I'll get the height of my image and multiply it by my factor. So I'll go with my image.the_get_width function. I'll multiply that by my factor, and then I'll add a comma. Do the same thing for my height. I'll go with image.get_height, and I'll multiply that by my factor. Okay, perfect. Next up, let me transform my images. So I'll go with my hero_image. I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my hero_image. And then I'll go with my projectile_image. I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my projectile_image. And the factor is going to be 0.5. That's basically 10%. I mean, that's basically 0.05. That's like relatively smaller than my hero image. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add my game loop. So for my game loop, I'm going to be creating a is_running boolean variable. I'll set that equal to true. Okay, change that to is, and then let's add a while loop. So while is_running, while my program is running or while my is running is set to true, I'm going to be adding, let's see, I'll fill my screen. So I'll go with screen.fill. I'll fill it to be a good blue color. So it's going to be 0, 231, and 255. That's the RGB. This is going to be 231. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add a keys variable. So that equal to pygame.key.get_pressed function. This checks if any of my keys are getting pressed on my keyboard. That will be useful when I'm adding my player movements. Okay, let me go ahead and add my event loop now. So for my event loop, I'll be iterating over all my pygame events. So for every event in my pygame.event.get, this basically gets all my pygame events, but I look for a specific type of event. If my event.type equals to pygame.alluppercase_quit, I'll set my is_running boolean variable to be equal to false. Then outside my for loop, I'm going to be adding FPS. So I'll go with my clock variable, which is basically my FPS controller, dot the tick function. This is going to be my FPS. Okay, maybe I'll add a comment that says FPS as well. And then let me update by display by typing pygame.display.flip. Pygame.display.flip basically updates pygame, although pygame.display.update would work exactly the same. I'll go with pygame.quit to exit pygame. Lastly, a sys.exit to exit Python. Okay, perfect. So if I run the command, this gives me like a plain screen on my plain window. Okay, now under my event loop, let me go ahead and add my player movement. So for my player movement, okay, I'll be adding a few if statements. So if my keys variable that I created up there at index of pygame.k is right, if my right key is pressed, I will increase my hero's position by 5 pixels per frame. So let me go ahead and add a comment that says vector positions. So these are going to be my hero's vector positions. Maybe I'll go with vector to end position. Okay, so I'll go with my hero_position variable. I'll set that equal to, let's see, I think it was pygame.vector. Okay, pygame.vector2. My vector's x-axis is going to be 100 and y-axis is going to be 300. And then I'll go with my projectile_position. I'll set that equal to pygame.vector2. Okay, and just curious, was it vector 2, I mean, was it position? Okay, so vector 2. Okay, so it wasn't pie game. I thought, for some reason, I thought I had to go with pie game, but I think vector 2 works by itself. There we go. I just wanted to confirm if I'm doing it correct. Then I'll go with 500 by 300 for the position. Alright, next up, let me go ahead and create Rex. So I'll create object Rex. For my object Rex, I'm going to be first creating a rect for my hero. So hero underscore rect is going to be equal to pygame dot capitalize rect. I'll need my hero's x-axis, which is going to be something like 100. Y-axis 300. Width is going to be 50. Height is going to be 50. And then I'll go with my projectile underscore rect. My projectile underscore rect is going to be equal to pygame dot capitalize rect. And x-axis is going to be 500, y-axis is going to be 300, width is going to be 50, height is going to be 50. Okay, so if my keys at index of pygame.k is right, I will increase my hero underscore position by 5 pixels per frame. And if my keys at index of pygame.k is left, if my left key is pressed, I will be decreasing my hero underscore position dot x-axis by 5 pixels per frame. I will add an x-axis there. Okay, and then if my keys at index of pygame.k is up, if my top key is pressed, hi, Howling Midnight, I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, if my keys at index of pygame.key is up, I'll go with my hero underscore position dot y-axis. I'll decrease that by 5 pixels per frame. And lastly, if my keys at index of pygame.k is down, if my bottom key is pressed, there we go. If my bottom key is pressed, I'll be increasing my hero underscore position dot y-axis by 5 pixels per frame. Okay, and that's basically it for my hero movement. Next up, let me go ahead and add a projectile chases player comment. There we go. Okay, so for my projectile chases player movement, I'm going to be creating a direction variable. I'll set that equal to, let's see, first my target, then my source. The target is going to be my hero, so my hero underscore rect dot x-axis. I'm pretty sure it was rect, right? Let's see. Okay, it was okay, excuse me guys, it was hero's position minus my projectile's position. Okay, and then I add an if statement. So if my direction x is not equal to 0, let me add a comment as well, maybe, that says avoid 0 division error. Okay, if my direction is not equal to 0, I will normalize my direction. So I'll go with my direction variable dot the normalize function. Okay, excellent vibe. I appreciate you, Gentle. Guys, I apologize if I can't pronounce you guys' names. I'm real bad with pronunciations. That said, I do that, okay? And then I increase my direction by my projectile's position multiplied by 4 pixels per frame. Let me add a comment that says speed. Okay, so this is going to be my speed. Next up, let me go ahead and add graphics. So I'll go with a comment that says graphics. For my graphics, let's see. First, I'll draw my player. I'll go with a screen dot blit. I want to blit my hero underscore image, and the position is going to be my hero underscore position dot x-axis and my hero underscore position dot y-axis. Okay, then I'll go with another screen dot blit. I want to blit my projectile image, hero underscore position. There we go. At the given depth of let's say my projectile underscore position dot x-axis and my projectile underscore position dot y-axis. Okay, perfect. I actually need to even update my rex, so let's go with update rex. I actually need to even update my Rex, so let's go with update Rex. I actually need to even update my Rex, so let's go with update Rex. I actually need to even update my Rex, so let's go with update Rex. I actually need to even update my Rex, so let's go with update Rex. Alright, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, I appreciate you so much, Winel. That was gonna be bad if I wasn't audible my whole stream. Okay, there we go. Am I audible right now? Let me just check it real quick. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm audible now, so let me get Sensei here. Okay, let me paste it. Add a bunch of spaces and say Sensei. I feel like I messed up. Okay, let's see. You did, and it's embarrassing. Look at this line, direction.normalize. That does nothing. Normalize in Pygame just returns a new vector, does not modify the old one in place. So your projectile is basically just standing the whispering. I normalized myself in spirit, but not in code. The fixed direction equals direction.normalize. Correct chasing part. Okay, so direction should be equal to direction.normalized. I see. Okay, so I go with direction. I said that equal to my direction.normalized audible now. Okay, that would have been real bad. Like that was actually such a life-saving move. I would like later watch my stream to like get a few clips and I'm going to be like, I wasn't audible. Alright, so it does chase my player now. Okay. Okay. Alright, so did I understand this part? That's the thing. Projectile chases player, direction x equals to my target minus my source. Alright, there's actually one way to find that out. Let me go ahead and delete this thing. Okay, Let me write that part now. So first is going to be my projectile chases player or chases hero. For my projectile chases hero, let me firstly go ahead and create a direction variable. I'll set that equal to, let's see, I'll set it equal to my target, which is going to be my hero underscore position, minus my source. My source is going to be my projectile underscore position. Okay, and then I'll check for zero division errors. So if my direction is not equal to 0, okay, let me add a comment that says avoids zero division error. Okay, so if my direction is not 0, I'm gonna go with my direction. I'll set that equal to my direction dot the normalized function. That's gonna like keep the speed normalized of my direction. And then I'm gonna go with my projectile underscore position. I will increase that by my direction, okay, multiplied by 4. This is gonna be my speed. Okay, that's honestly pretty much it that I could remember. Let me go ahead and add a comment that says update rex. This is gonna update my rectangle. So to update my rex, firstly I'll go with my hero underscore rex. I'll set that equal to my hero underscore position. I will add a dot center here. Okay, equals to my hero underscore position. And then my hero underscore, actually my projectile underscore rect dot position or dot rect dot center equals to my projectile underscore position. Okay, that's going to be equal still. Next up, let me go ahead and add my graphics. So I'll go with graphics. For my graphics, I'll go with my hero underscore, let's see, I'll go with a screen dot blitz. I want to blitz my hero underscore image. The position is going to be my hero's rect. And then I'll go with a screen dot blitz. I want to blitz my projectile underscore image. The position is going to be my projectile underscore rect. Okay, now if I run the command, my hero can move, this thing chases me. Alright, I think I got a pretty good idea about this. I do wanna add more advanced logic now. Not like that advanced, but like a bit more complex. Okay, let me paste out a bunch of spaces and say, I feel like I got a pretty good gist of it. How do you spell definitely? I definitely need more practice. Although, what's the next thing that we had to do? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Haha, finally, guys. Let me just hydrate my lips real quick. Okay, finally, you actually got the projectile chasing working properly. You took long enough, but I give you that tiny vector. I give you that tiny victory. Now, since you've got vector 2 aiming down, the next thing we want to cover for you is enemy AI logic area. Firing object only at intervals, not every frame, because right now projectile is constantly glued to the hero. Multiple projectiles, collision detection with player and projectiles, so the hero takes damage when it hits. Okay, basically spawn, aim, move, detect, collision, repeat. That's your AI attack loop. If you want, we can start building the timed projectile shooting next. I'll show you the clean way to handle multiple projectiles chasing the player, like leveling up from your training wheels. Okay, let's go with this part first. Let me paste it at a bunch of spaces and say, Sensei, can we learn this part first? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Oh yes, finally, about time you focus. Now pay more attention, or pay attention, because this is where AI starts acting like an actual enemy instead of a clingy shadow. Here's the concept. Right now your projectile is moving every single frame, so it feels glued to the hero. What we want instead is spawning a projectile only at a certain time intervals. This is called rate limiting or cooldown timing. How it works, you keep track of time since last shot. If enough time has passed, Your code, you spawn a new projectile, reset the timer and repeat. Example concept code, we import pygame, then from pygame.math we import vector2, we add a clock variable, FPS variable, then we add a cooldown variable, projectile.cooldown is 1000 milliseconds, which is like 1 second, last shot time 0, okay. In your current game loop, current time equals to pygame.time.getTicks. Okay, I honestly never heard of the getTicks function. Okay, time since pygame.init. Oh, I see, okay. If current time minus last shot time is greater than my projectile cooldown, spawn projectile's position equals to vector2 enemy.rect.setter. Project velocity equals to vector2 hero.rect minus projectile position dot normalized multiplied by 4. Okay, projectile dot append. Alright, I see. What's happening here? Pygame.time.ticks gives you milliseconds that since the game started. Projectile cooldown is how long to wait before next shot. We check the difference between current time and last time shot is bigger than cooldown shot. This prevents the projectile from updating every frame. Think of it like a gun that can't fire too fast, not a magical laser. Okay, I see. Okay, let me get Sensei here, drink some water, and then try to implement that in my code. Okay, so for that, let me actually okay, so cooldown variables. Let me actually try first adding that in Discord, and then I'll like write the code from scratch. So first I'll go with cooldown variables. Okay, and then it says inside my cooldown variables, I'll need a projectile cooldown. So projectile underscore cooldown. Also, that equal to 1000 milliseconds. Let me add a comment that says milliseconds, 1 second. Okay, did I spell milliseconds wrong? MILISCO. Okay, MILSC seconds. I spelled it correct, I feel like. Okay, let's just copy the milliseconds, paste it here. Okay, I spelled it wrong. Okay, that said, I would need a, let's see, a last time shot. So I'll go with last time shot variable, also that equal to 0. Okay, and then inside my game loop, in your current game loop, current time equals to pygame.time.getTicks. So let's get the ticks of my current time. Maybe under my projectile and update rex, I could go with, let's say, current time. So I'll go with a variable that says current underscore time equals to, I'll create a current time variable, also that equal to pygame.getTicks. Yo, this is some beginning course. Yo, is this some beginning course? Honestly, I'm preparing for my programming for 250 day series. This is currently day 2. I was just done with my Python for 100 day series like let's see, 2 days ago. And my goal by the end of this series is to like learn anything and everything I can. And my goal by the end of this series will be to make a game in general that includes AI in it. I don't know how am I going to be doing that, but I guess I'll figure that out. Get underscore ticks. Okay. Pygame.time.getTicks. Pygame.time.getTicks. Okay, there we go. And then since time since pygame.init, maybe I'll add a comment here as well that says time since pygame.init. Since we initialized pygame, this is the time. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add a if statement. So if our current time minus our last time shot is greater than our projectile time cooldown. Oh, this actually feels a little familiar from like the Python game that I made. So if my current time, okay, if my if the time since my pygame started, since my pygame was initialized, minus my last time shot. Maybe I fixed my spelling here so it's more readable. Okay, minus. That's so generous. Good luck for a long road. I appreciate you, Harish. That means a lot. Okay, minus last time shot is greater than or equal to my projectile image. Okay, Actually, projectile cooldown. I'll go with my spawn projectile. I'll add a comment that says spawn projectile. Okay, I spelled spawn wrong. That aside, let me go with a variable called project underscore position. I'll set that equal to vector2 dot, okay, vector2, and then I'll give my enemy Rex's center. So enemy, so my enemy is my projectile underscore rect dot the center function. This gets the center of my enemy's projectile. Okay, there we go. And then I'll go with my projectile underscore velocity. So I'll go with projectile underscore velocity. I'll set that equal to a tuple of my vector2. Okay, this is going to be my hero underscore rect dot center. There we go. Okay, hero underscore rex is center. Okay, so it says hero dot rect. So I could get my hero's rect. Okay, I see. Okay, and then I'm going to subtract this by projectile's position. So my projectile underscore position variable, and then I'll normalize the whole thing. And I'll multiply it by 4. That's basically the speed, the multiply 4. Okay, and then last time shot equals to current time. So I'm going to reassign my last time shot. So last time shot, I'll set that equal to my current time. Okay, and this is like projectile, so PRO. Okay, if I run the command, okay, this does chase me. Okay, I do want to ask Sensei if this is what Sensei meant. So let me go with a control C. Get Sensei here. Okay, paste it, add a bunch of space. Sensei, I feel like I'm so confused, or actually kind of confused. Is this what you meant? Okay, let's see. Ah, I see exactly what's happening here, and yes, you're mixing up two things at once, which is why it's confusing. Right now in your code, you always move the projectiles every frame with this direction equals to hero's position minus projectile underscore position. If our direction is not equal to 0, normalize. I might have to remove that. This is why it's glued to the hero. Then you have tried to add cooldown logic, but all it does is calculate projectile's position and projectile's velocity. You never actually use it to move a projectile. So currently your code cooldown, currently your cooldown does nothing visually. You're calculating a projectile's velocity but never updating a projectile's list or drawing it. What we actually want, keep a list of projectiles, spawn a new projectile at intervals, each frame move all projectiles in the list. Okay, we have a empty list, list to store all active projectiles inside game loop. Current underscore time equals to pygame.time.getText. This basically gets the time in milliseconds ever since pygame was initialized. If our current time minus, so this is our current time, minus our last time shot when our projectile was shot last is greater than or equal to our projectile's cooldown, which is basically like our delay. If you want to add like 5 seconds, the projectile will spawn every 5 seconds. That said, spawn new projectiles. So we get our projectile position, we set that equal to vector2 projectile underscore reg.x-axis. Projectile underscore velocity equals to vector2 our hero underscore reg.center minus our projectile underscore position dot normalize multiplied by 2. Okay, projectile dot append, we append our projectile. Okay, we append a dictionary to our projectile. Our position is going to be equal to our projectile position. Our velocity is going to be our projectile velocity. And then we add our last time shot to be equal to our Python's current time. I mean our Pygame's current time. Move all projectiles, we iterate over our dictionary for every projectile in our list of projectiles. Okay, we go with projectile at index of position, which is our projectile position. Okay, we increase that our projectile at index of velocity, which is our projectile velocity. I see. Each projectile now moves independently. You're not only overriding projectile position every frame, you can draw all positions using a loop. Okay, for every projectile and projectiles, projectile.rect, screen.plit. Okay. Key concept, cooldown equals when to create a projectile, vector 2, and normalize equals how to make it chase the hero. List of projectiles equals multiple bullets flying independently. If you want, I can rewrite your full data. I think I got it. Okay, I hope I got it. Let's see. So, I apparently like remove everything from here. Alright, so projectile chases hero. For that part, let's see. Firstly, I create a list of my projectiles. So I go with projectile equals to a empty list. Okay, and then I go with my current time. So I find my Pygame's current time. So I'll go with current underscore time. I'll set that equal to Pygame dot time dot the get underscore ticks function. This basically gets Pygame's current time ever since Pygame was initialized. Is that how we spell initialized? There we go. Okay, I'll just go with. How do you spell initialized? Hold up. Guys, I'm real bad with spellings. Okay, there we go. It's INITIALIZED. Alright, I'll remember that. Okay, and then I go with an if statement. So, if my current time, whatever my Pygame's current time is, if that minus my, do I have a variable for my projectile cooldown? If that minus our projectile, not cooldown. What was the other one? Last time shot. Okay, last time shot is greater than or equal to my projectile underscore cooldown. Okay, I do something. Let's see. Okay, I spawn new projectiles. So I'll add a comment that says spawn new projectiles. Okay, so to spawn my new projectiles, firstly I'm going to be adding a projectile underscore rect. Was it called rect? Okay, so first, I would need a velocity. So this is going to be projectile's position. Also, that equal to vector 2. Okay, maybe zoom in a bit. Okay, vector 2. So my projectile underscore rect. My projectile's rect's center. Okay. And then I'll go with velocity. So for my projectile underscore velocity, that is going to be equal to a tuple of my vector 2 hero's rect center minus my projectile's position. Okay, I see. So I'll go with projectile underscore velocity. I'll set that equal to a tuple of my vector 2. Okay, and inside of my vector 2, I'll add my hero's rectangle center. I'll subtract that by my projectile underscore position and normalize it. So this is going to be my hero underscore rect dot center. Okay, I'll subtract that by my projectile underscore position, and then I'll normalize it. I'll use the dot normalize function, and I'll multiply this by 4. I do want to spell my normalize. Instantly subscribed. I appreciate that, Kirsa. That means a lot to me. Okay, with that said, I'll append my projectiles. So projectiles.append. So in my projectiles list, I might actually make this plural. Okay, so I'll go with projectiles.append. Okay, I want to append something inside of my projectiles. Let's see. Let's append a dictionary. So I'll be appending a dictionary. My projectile, honestly, my key could be position. My position is going to be my projectile underscore position. Projectile position. Okay, then let's see, I'll go with velocity. Velocity is going to be my projectile underscore velocity. Okay, next up, I reassign my last spawn time, last time shot to be equal to my current time. Alright, and then I move all projectiles. So I gotta iterate over the list of my projectiles. Maybe I'll add a comment that says move all projectiles. Do you do any CP or CFTS, etc.? Honestly, I don't do anything much these days because I do have like a lot of college stuff to do. That said, in Miley's program for 250 days series, I am going to be learning a lot more things, and I'm actually pretty excited for that. Okay, so move all projectiles. Okay, so for moving on with projectiles, I'll iterate over my list. For every projectile in my list of projectiles, okay, I'll go with my projectile at index of, this is going to be my position. Okay, that's going to increase by my projectile at index of velocity. Okay, honestly, I think like I'm actually getting a grasp of what this means. This is going to be velocity. I need to pull here close to this. Okay, if I run the command. Okay, my player doesn't move, so does my moves work? My moves are said to be correct. Okay, so I increase that. Each projectile now moves independently. Okay, I drew my projectiles. Okay, since it's a list, I might draw them individually, so I'll go with for every projectile in my list of projectiles. Okay, I'll go with screen.blit. I want to blit my projectile, and the position is going to be, let's see, my projectile at index of position. Okay, and my projectile at index of velocity, and this is going to be inside of a tuple, right? Because this is the position. Okay, honestly, I just think I gotta do position. Projectile underscore rect dot center equals projectile at index of position. Okay, so projectile projectile underscore rect dot center equals to projectile at index of, isn't that the code basically what ChatGPT gave you? Why didn't you just copy and paste it instead of typing it all out? Honestly, the reason first I asked ChatGPT / Sensei to show me the reference code so I can understand how it works. I didn't copy paste it because I wouldn't learn much from it, but if I tapped with my fingers, I get the muscle memory, and then eventually when I get a hang of it, I can explain it while typing it out as well. So typing is a pretty good habit in my opinion. Okay, I'll go with position. Okay, then screen.blit, because my main goal is not to rely on ChatGPT / Sensei or any AIs. I do want to figure all the codes out on my own, but I'm learning the basics like vectors and the basics in general, all the functions and everything. Once I know them, I could make different things on my own. Okay, I'll go with projectile underscore image, and this is going to be projectile underscore rect for my position. Okay, yeah, that's understandable. Okay, if I run the command. Okay, I do see the knife or the sword going upwards. I did add in my FPS. Okay, let's see. So hero underscore position, is my hero underscore position still set to vector? Okay, that's 100 by 300. Alright, honestly, let me go with a control C. I think I kind of messed up somewhere, but I don't know where. Okay, let me paste out a bunch of spaces. Let's say I feel like I messed up ... Guys, I should have done some prep before streaming, but then I was a little busy because I just came from college. I see exactly what went wrong here. You reset your projectile list every frame with this line. Okay, that's why only one projectile ever exists at a time, and even that one gets wiped immediately in the next frame. Your cooldown logic can't work if list disappears every frame. Okay, the list disappears every frame. How to fix? Move this creation outside the game loop so it persists. Okay, keep this outside the loop, so maybe under my game variable section. Okay, keep the rest of the game. Alright, let me get Sensei there. Okay, so basically my list, alright, that actually does make sense that this is inside of my for loops, it iterates every frame. Maybe under my game variables I'll paste this. Now if I run the command. Okay. I see. Okay, this does look kind of weird type stuff. Okay, but I do see how what this actually means and is meant to do. Okay, let me go with the control C. Okay. Let me get Sensei here. pasted out a bunch of spaces and say sensei. Ah, I see. Dot dot dot. Although, what was the main idea of this code question mark? Like swords, or let me just go with projectiles. Projectiles just keep spawning. Dot dot dot. Okay, yes, finally you're starting to see the pattern, but let me break it down clearly for you step by step because this is exactly how most games handle enemy projectiles. Maintain a list of projectiles. This is your container. Each projectile is stored as a dictionary with its position, vector 2, and velocity vector 2. This lets us track multiple bullets independently. Cooldown timer, projectiles, okay, spawn projectiles. Alright, let me actually say, Sensei, can you actually write the reference code, because I feel like mine is kind of messed up. Dot dot dot. I want to see how the actual code looks. Okay, let's see. Oh yes, finally you want the clean professional version so you can see how should it look. I'll write it step by step with classes. Also, we needed to use classes? Okay, Sensei didn't say me anything about classes. I thought I was doing it without classes. That said, this actually might make more sense. Let me just copy that one. Key points here, projectile handle, stuff, Alright, let's get Sensei here. Okay, with classes, this makes more sense. I thought we were doing it without classes. Okay, wait, if I run the command. Oh, okay, I see. I just gotta add a remove once the other projectile spawns. Oh, I see how this works. Alright, let me read the code once real quick. Okay, so we imported vector, we imported math, we initialized pygame, added a clock variable, positions. Okay, we added a hero position, we added a hero's rect. Now, for our projectile class, we defined a dungeon init constructor and added 3 parameters. First is a position parameter, second is a target parameter, third is a speed parameter. We added an instance variable, self.position equals to vector2 and our position parameter. Excuse me guys. Then we added a comment that computes velocity once towards target. Then we added a direction variable. We set that equal to vector2 target minus self.position. If our direction.length is not equal to 0, self.velocity equals to direction.normalized multiplied by speed. Else self.velocity equals to vector2 with this position. Okay. Self.rect equals to projectile underscore image dot the get underscore rect function. The position is going to be center, which is going to be equal to our self.position instance variable. We define an update. Self.position increases by our self.velocity. Self.rect.center, or our rect center is going to be equal to our position. Then we draw it. Okay, our draw parameter has the surface of screen. Has a parameter of surface.blitz. Okay, I could set that equal to screen by default. Okay, equal to screen by default. Okay, then our projectile management. We have a projectiles class, projectile cooldown 1000 milliseconds, last shot time, game loop running. We have hero movements. If keys are index of pygame.key is right. Okay. Alright, hero underscore reg.center equals to our hero underscore position. Okay, I think I'm trying to get what this means. Spawn projectile at intervals. Our current time equals to pygame.time.get takes. This gets all the time in milliseconds ever since our pygame was initialized. If current time minus last time shot is greater than or equal to our projectile underscore cooldown, projectile.append. Okay, last shot time equals to current time. We update our projectiles by iterating over our list of projectiles. Dot the update method, dot the draw method. Okay, I see draw hero. Alright, let me go with the controller, delete this whole thing. Let me try writing it out on my own now. Okay, so I will honestly keep the reference here, but I won't look at it until I don't actually have to. Okay, so firstly, let me go ahead and import pygame and then sys, and then from pygame, let me let's see, from pygame.math, I will import vector2. Okay, there we go. And then let me initialize pygame by typing pygame.init. Then add my game variables. Okay, for my game variables, okay, I'll add a clock variable. Oh my gosh. There we go. I'll add a clock variable also that equal to pygame dot time dot capitalize clock. Okay, this is going to be my FPS controller. And then let me go ahead and add a FPS variable also that equal to 60 frames per second. Maybe go with my display next. Okay, for my display, I'll be adding a width variable and a height variable. My width variable is going to be 1000 and my height variable is going to be 650. Then let me go ahead and add a screen variable. My screen variable is going to be equal to, let me change that to screen. Okay, it's going to be equal to pygame.display.theset underscore mode function. My mode is going to be inside of a tuple, and my position is going to be my width variable and height variable. Okay, next up, let me go with pygame.display.set underscore caption. I'll set a caption. My caption is going to be vector2. Okay, next up, if I recall correct, let me go ahead and load image. So I'll go ahead and load my image. First, I'll load my hero underscore image. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path of my hero image. My file path is going to be game items followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by, let's see, player, 2 more forward slashes. That's going to be my hero PNG. And since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. Then let me go ahead and load my start underscore image. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the file path. So game items followed by 2 forward slashes, followed by weapons, 2 more forward slashes. This is going to be my start PNG. And since this is a PNG, I will convert it to alpha. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and transform and scale my PNG. So I'll go with transform and scale. Okay, to transform and scale, I'll define a scale function. My scale function will have a image parameter and a factor parameter. My factor slash size is going to be 0.1, which is 10 by default. I will return pygame dot transform dot scale. Okay, I want to scale my image. My size is going to be in a tuple. Maybe I'll go in a new line, integer. Now I'm going to be getting the width of my image and multiplying it by my factor, and then I'll get the height of my image and multiply it by my factor. So image.the_get underscore width function, I want to multiply my width by my factor, add a comma, and go with image.get underscore height, first integer, image.get underscore height. I'll multiply that by my factor as well. Okay, and then next up, I'll go with my hero underscore image. So hero underscore image, I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my hero underscore image. And then I'll go with my sword underscore image. I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function. I want to scale my sword underscore image. Okay, and the position slash the size is going to be 0.05, which is like relatively smaller than my hero PNG. Then I drink some coffee. Okay, let's see. Next up, let me go ahead and add my, let's go with sword details. For my sword details, firstly, I needed a list of swords. So list of swords, I'll set that equal to a list. Okay, and then I'll go with, let's say, sword underscore spawn underscore time. I'll set that equal to 0. Alright, next up, let me go ahead and add my game loop. So I'll go with game loop. For my game loop, I'll create a is underscore running boolean variable. I'll set that equal to true. And then let me add a while loop. So while is underscore running, while my program is running or while my running is set to true, I'll go with a screen.fill. I want to fill my screen to be a good blue color. So 0 to 31 to 55. Okay, then let me add a keys variable. Also that equal to pygame.key.get underscore pressed. This checks if my key is getting pressed or any of my keys are getting pressed. And then let's see, let me go ahead and add my event loop. For my event loop, I am going to be iterating over all my pygame events. So for every event in my pygame.event.get, this basically gets all my pygame events, but I'm looking for a specific type of event. So if my event.type equals to pygame.all uppercase quit, I'll set my is underscore running boolean variable to be equal to false. Okay, then outside my event loop, I'll add FPS. So I'll go with my clock variable dot the tick function, and this is going to be my FPS variable. Maybe I'll add a comment that specifies as FPS. Okay, let me go with a pygame.display.flip to update my display. Although pygame.display.update will work exactly the same, I'll go with a pygame.quit to exit pygame and a sys.exit to exit Python. Okay, next up, under my event loop, I'm going to be adding my player movement. So this is going to be my player movement. For my player movement, I'm going to be adding an if statement. If my keys at index of pygame dot uppercase K is right, if my right key is pressed, I'm going to be adding another comment here that specifies my player's position. So I'll go with vector2 positions. So first is going to be, I'm creating a variable called hero underscore position. I'll set that equal to vector2. Add a pair of parentheses, go with the x-axis and y-axis of my player. My hero's x-axis is going to be 100, y-axis is going to be 300. And then let me go ahead and add a sword underscore position. I'll set that equal to vector2. My sword's x-axis is going to be 500, y-axis is going to be 300. Okay, then let me go ahead and add a comment that says create recs. I want to create rectangles. So I'll go with hero underscore rect equals to my hero underscore image dot the get underscore rect function. My rect's position is going to be in the center, which is going to be equal to my hero underscore position variable. And then for my, let's see, sword underscore rect is going to be equal to my sword underscore rect dot the get my sword underscore image dot the get underscore rect function. My position is going to be in the center, which is going to be equal to my sword underscore position variable. Okay, perfect. So if my keys at index of pygame.k is right, I'm going to be increasing my hero underscore position by 5 pixels per frame. And if my keys at index of pygame.k is left, if my left key is pressed, I will decrease my hero's position by 5 pixels per frame. And if my keys at index of pygame.k is up, if my top key is pressed, I will decrease my hero underscore position, my hero's y-axis position. And let me actually specify that these are x-axis. Okay, dot x-axis. Okay, my hero's y-axis is going to decrease by 5 pixels per frame. And lastly, if my keys at index of pygame.k is down, if my bottom key is pressed, okay, I will increase my hero underscore position dot y-axis by 5 pixels per frame. Okay, that's basically it for my player movements. Let me go ahead and add a sword chases player logic. For my sword chases player logic, okay, let me go ahead and do something. Let's see. This is where I feel like I need to add classes now. So let me go ahead and create a class for my sword. Okay, my sword class won't inherit from anyone, but I will have a dungeon init constructor with a few parameters. The first parameter, was it position? Okay, I forgot what all details should my class have. Okay, so I need a position, a target, and a speed. Okay, I see, that makes sense. Position is going to be my sword's position. Target is going to be my hero. Speed is going to be, I don't know, something like 5 pixels per frame. Okay, and then let me go ahead and let's see. I gotta create an instance variable for my position. So self.position equals to vector2, my position variable. Okay, and then it's compute velocity once towards target. Okay, so let me go ahead and add a comment that says compute velocity once towards target. Okay, so I'll have to create a direction variable. So velocity with the target's parameter to it minus self.position. So I'll create a directions variable. Okay, I'll set that equal to velocity. This is going to be my target. So my target, I'll subtract that by my self.position, my sword's position. Okay, and then I would need to check for zero division error, and if zero division error does not happen, I'm going to be setting my self.velocity, a new instance variable, okay, to be equal to my direction.normalize multiplied by speed. Okay, so let's check for zero division errors. So if my direction is not equal to 0, okay, avoids 0 division error, okay, I'll do something. Let's see. If my direction is not equal to 0, my self.velocity, I'll create an instance variable called self.velocity by velocity, also that equal to my direction, okay, was it direction dot normalize, okay, multiplied by my speed, which is set to 5 pixels per frame. Okay, see. Alright, and then I go with an else. Else my self.velocity is going to be equal to vector 2 and the position is going to be 0 and 0. So let's go with an else clause. Else my self.velocity, okay, is going to be equal to my vector 2. The position is going to be 0 and 0. Self.rect, my position is rect, another instance variable. I set that equal to my swords image dot the get rect function. Okay, I see. Okay, I think I can just go with my sword rect. Okay, because my sword rect is already equal to my sword underscore image dot get rect. Okay, I could add this part here honestly. Okay, let me copy that because I do gotta add my self dot position. Okay, sword rect. Okay, I'll delete that part. This is going to be my sword image dot get rect. This is going to be my self dot position. Okay, perfect. And then I define a method. So let me go ahead and define a update method. Okay, my update method won't have any parameters, although my self dot position is going to increase by my self dot velocity, and my self dot rect dot center, my sort center, is going to be equal to my self dot position. Okay, this is same as applying gravity. So self dot position is going to increase by my self dot velocity. Okay, and then my self dot rect dot center is going to be equal to my self dot position. Okay, and then let me go ahead and define a draw method. My draw method will have a parameter of surface to it, which is going to be set to screen by default. Then I'll go with a surface.blit. Okay, I'll go with a surface.blit. I want to blit my sword underscore image. The position is going to be my sword underscore rect. Okay, which is technically my self underscore rect. Alright, and did I add projectile details? I did. So projectile cooldown, 1000 milliseconds, last time shot. Okay, so where did I add my projectile details? There we go. Okay, sword spawn time. Okay, last time shot is set to 0. Okay, and then projectile underscore cooldown is going to be equal to 1000. So I could add something like sword underscore delay equals to 1000. Okay, and then under my while loop, I go with the keys, added my keys, spawn projectile at intervals. Okay, so let's spawn swords at intervals. Okay, so for spawning swords, first I'll find my Pygame's current time. So I'll create a current underscore time variable. I'll set that equal to my pygame.time.get underscore ticks. This basically gets Pygame's time ever since Pygame was initialized. Okay, so if my current time, if my Pygame's current time minus my last time shot is greater than my projectile cooldown, I append my projectile. So in my projectiles list / my swords list, I append projectile position. Okay, projectile position, target, who to attack. I see. Okay, so I go with if my Python's current time or my Pygame's current time minus my when my projectile was shot. So it's not the delay. This is going to be my sword spawn time is greater than or equal to my sword delay when my that's like set to how many seconds was it set to? Okay, set to 1000 milliseconds, which is like 1 second. Okay, I'll go with my sword. Okay, my swords list dot append. I wanna append my projectile. Okay, wanna append my projectile. Okay, what is projectile in this case? Is projectile like a variable that I got, or like that I iterated over? Okay, let's see. Okay, projectile's position. Okay, this is projectile's position. Forward projectile and my projectile. Let's see. So I could go with my sword's position, right? Oh, I think I see. This is gonna be my projectile class, right? What was it called? It's called my sword class. There we go. Okay, sword class. Now, what are parameters I need? I need a position. My position parameter is gonna be something like 500 by 300. My target speed is gonna be target equals to my hero speed. Do I want to go with my hero's position? Honestly, yeah, I'll just try. I'll do what's inside this time. I'll add modifications later. Okay, and then I'll reassign my last shot time. Okay, instead of last shot time, I'll go with spawn time. My sword spawn time to be equal to my cutting time. Okay, and then I gotta update my projectiles. So outside my if statement, let me add another comment that says update projectiles, and I'll iterate over projectiles. For every projectile in my list of projectiles, actually for every sword. Okay, so for every sword in my list of swords, okay, I'll go with swords.the update method. First I'm going to be updating, then I'm going to be drawing my sword. Okay, this honestly should come under my graphics category as well, so I might just add a graphics category as well. This is inside my graphics. Then I go with a screen.blit. So let's go with screen.blit. I want to blit my hero underscore image with the position of my hero underscore rect. Okay, let me go ahead and run the command. Okay, attribute error, sword object has no attribute rect. Sword rect. Did I go with rect? Line 53. There we go, right there. Okay, so self.rect. Okay, that is my self.rect. Okay, that is else. So these instance variables, they go right here. Okay, that's basically a instance variable that I created, right? Self.rect equals to self.position. So I'm trying to get my swords rect. I could get that by just going here. Let me go ahead and add a sword underscore rect. Also, that equals to, copy that, paste it. Okay, and instead of self.position, I'll go with my sword underscore position. Okay, I'll go with my sword underscore rect. Although, I don't think I can use it here. Okay, I think I'll also say real quick on what to do here. Okay, let me go with a control C. Said Howdy Midnight, I appreciate you joining the stream. Let me actually lubricate my lips, guys. It's like really dehydrated. Guys, after this topic, I actually like need to do my college stuff because I like got an exam coming. Okay, let me paste it, add a bunch of spaces and say Sensei, I feel like I messed up, question mark. Maybe drink some coffee. Oh yeah, I see exactly what you did, and yes, there's a couple sneaky mistakes in this code that are missing things, that are messing things up. Let me break it down clearly so you don't get confused. Self.rect inside your sword class, look at this part. If direction is not equal to 0, avoid 0 division error. Self.velocity equals to direction.normalize multiplied by speed, else problem, you only create rect in the else branch. Consequences, the direction is not 0, normal case. Your sword object fix always creates self.red regardless of the direction. Okay, self.position did I like create a self.rect? Okay, so like a general instance, hero rex never updates. You have hero underscore image, hero underscore rect. This is going to be hero underscore position in that case. hero underscore rec dot center equals to hero underscore rec dot position. You need to update it every frame. Screen dot blitz. Okay. Vector 3 if direction is not 0. If direction dot length. Okay, I keep forgetting that length part. Okay, I see. Once you fix these, your swords will spawn every second and move towards the hero correctly, Vivek. Here's the truth part. You need to understand why self.rec must always exist, otherwise Python will yell at you when you try to access it. This is where most beginners trip up. Alright, let me get Sensei there. Okay, so firstly, the mistake that I had was inside of my class here. When I find my, let's see, the zeta division error, I gotta go with my directions length. Okay, and then I gotta create like a general rect as well. Let me copy that. Let me create it under my instance variable. Okay. Alright, now I could access the rect, right? There we go. A sword like chases me. Okay, if I move, so my player isn't moving, but my player's position is moving. So let me go ahead and update my player's position as well before I like draw him. Okay, so where was my updates area? I could let me actually just try it here. So before I draw my player, I'll go with something like my hero underscore rect equals to my hero underscore position. Actually, my hero underscore rect dot center, my hero center. Okay, now if I run the command, there we go. And the swords chase me as well. Although I don't take much credit for this question because it's like I didn't solve it on my own. Although I need a lot more practice, and guys, this is kind of okay. See, I'll honestly go on much more depth and detail next stream on this part because I might have to go right now, I think. Let me actually get Sensei here. Okay, Sensei, I think I understand, although I need a lot more practice, ... I honestly would love to get more practice today, but I have a lot of college work to do and a exam next week, ... So I'm planning to end the stream. Is there anything that you want to say to the viewers? Question mark. Guys, how is Sensei gonna read that? Oh, Vivek streamers, listen up. Today Sensei saw some real progress. He went from barely understanding vectors to getting swords chasing a hero. Yeah, that's where mistakes, but that's steel forging. Guys, I can't read. Every screw up is a step closer to mastery. Remember this. Your hero might not dodge the sword, but you never dodge practice. And trust me, Vivek. Trust me, Vivek's coming back stronger. Exam, no exam. So viewer, don't watch, learn, try, fail, fix, repeat. And that's how you go from 0 to legend. Vivek, go smash that college work and ace your exam. But I'll be back to burn your brain with vectors and projectiles when you return. Don't slack, I'll yell if you do. Okay, so let me just check if I got any comments on my verticals. How old are you? I'm currently 17 years old. That said, let me go to my main camera. There we go. And just check if everything was good here. Okay, honestly guys, I couldn't even reach the 2-hour threshold today because I seriously did have to do my college stuff, because if I don't, I'm actually kind of cooked. Okay, that said, this was basically it for the stream. I know I should have practiced more. Like before, I used to do 50 questions per stream and all that. Okay, that aside, I will try to complete all my college work today and then stream for longer tomorrow. So if you guys enjoyed the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Like it helps with my algorithm, sharing makes me smile, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. And guys, I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube at the same time. So if you guys enjoy my content and haven't followed me on Twitch and Kick, make sure you guys follow me there. And if you guys haven't subscribed to me on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to me on YouTube. And also make sure to join the Discord server. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.